Well, you see, it's a garrison town, Carmarthen. Now, the British Army came first, right? And they didn't have a barracks for them. And they had to put the British soldiers out in lodgings in the people of the town. So we had the pub now, and we had a big, huge room in the back. And we had 9 British soldiers billeted with us. I remember Sid Blake, he was in the Royal Artillery. He was a clerk in the Old Bailey. And I remember George Sutton, he was a plumber. And he was the one that had a photo taken with me in the garden, and I was about 11. And he put his arm around me and we were standing in the garden down the bottom. And the other one was Len Armand. He was, Sid Blake was a reporter on the News of the World, a junior reporter on the News of the World. And Len Armand was a clerk in the Old Bailey. And they were 3 sergeants. 3 sergeants, not top sergeants, they were sergeant majors like, isn't it? But George Sutton was a staff sergeant. And we had those 3 billeted with us for a start. But they were quiet, But then we had the 9 soldiers, and one was called Twinkle. I'll always remember him. And he didn't know his left from his right. And they were marching up and down parading, doing that drill. And instead of turning, he says, he didn't know left, he turned right. He nearly chops him his head off with the bayonet. I think I remember telling you before about the Royal Artillery, 244 Battery. It was the address of the soldier, Sid Blake and Len Armand. And there's an Armand on the TV now. This always was Len Armand. An Armand, because it's quite an unusual name, isn't it? And I've sometimes wonder if I could find out he might be related to him. Vida, yes. We went out, I was 15. We went down to Carmarthen, down to town, and 3 doors up, Peggy Davis, Peggy Crook, her name was. She married Crook. He was an officer in the army. She married him, and he was abroad somewhere in India, I think, or Burma or somewhere. And she and Anne, my sister, and myself, and the Key was living with us then, my grandfather. And we went down to town, and we were down the Guildhall Square, and there were hundreds there. And walking up Lambeth Street, there were hundreds of British civilians, girls, men, and army, soldiers and everything there. And everybody was kissing and hugging everybody. It was a wonderful, wonderful day. And we got home about 4 o'clock in the morning. And we had to go through the kitchen quietly, because we couldn't go round the other way. And the Key, as soon as we went in, on comes the light. And he's looking at the clock. What was the time that we were out till? Because he was sleeping on a bed downstairs, the Key was, in our kitchen. And, well, you see, when the war broke out, I didn't realise what it meant. I thought it was Water Street fighting Lambeth Street. Didn't realise what it meant, And then I remember Mammy saying, go to the post office and get a pound of pepper, because there's no pepper to be had. An ounce of pepper, innit? A pound of pepper. But we didn't realise, I didn't realise what war meant until Glyn came into our lives, and then he went into the RAF. And as I say, the soldiers that we had billeted with us, we knew that they had all gone to the D-Day London, the British boys as well, because we had some lovely British boys calling as well. They were really nice boys. There was one dinner time, this fellow used to come in, he was a southerner, Andy Cohen. I was serving, and Andy Cohen, he came in, come into the pub, he'd been to the garden, the old man Cohen, lovely old boy he was. Can I have a pint, Margaret, please? He said. I said, yes. I said, so I drew a pint for him and I put it on the counter. And this American came in. Tell a lie, he was a British soldier from outside town somewhere. Right. And he said, I'll pay for that, he said, see? And Andy Cohen said, no, don't bother, boy. He said, I got money here, shilling a pint it was. I got a shilling here, he said, I'll give it to the young lady now. No, I'll pay for it, he said, see? So right, he came, I'm saying it backwards now, he was there first. I given him a pint and he didn't pay me. Right. And he said, I'll pay for that, he said to Andy Cohen, see? And I thought, no, I'll wait a minute now and see. And I said, oh, excuse me, I said, but you haven't paid. So Andy let him pay for the pint, see? So I said, you haven't paid for your pint there. I said, without that pint there. And he said, oh, Margaret, he said, here's my money, he said, and pay the young lady, he told him. And he had about 20 halfpennies and pennies, and he just threw them over the counter, and they all went inside the bar. And I thought, well, it isn't often that I would call my father. My father was upstairs getting changed, right, to come down to the bar. He'd been working all day, see. So I went out. Mummy said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to call Daddy. I went up bottom and says, Dad, can you come down quick? He said, what's the matter? I got a problem here. Right, down he came. I said, come into the bar. He said, what's going on? He said. I said, this man here, I said, he was in his uniform, you see, soldier's uniform. I said, he came in and I gave him a pint and he didn't pay me. And then Mr. Cohen came in, I said, and he said he'd buy Mr. Cohen's pint. So Mr. Cohen wasn't willing. I said, but you know, he had said, but he'd insisted to pay. And I said, he's thrown all the money in behind the counter. I said, all in short, small change, he said. Right, he said, come on, he said, I don't want any of your sort in here, he said to him. And he caught hold of him like that. And he pulled a bit of his uniform. And he said to me, he said, you, I'm going to have you up. He said, you've ripped the king's uniform, he said. See. So my father turned around and caught hold of the back of his trousers. And he went out through the front door, flying down into the gutter, into the road. And he said to him, I don't want to see you or your king's uniform in my pub again, he said. And I was in the king's uniform before ever you were pupped, he said. So get you going, he said. I'm not having you here, he said. And that's the only trouble we had with a British soldier. And he was living up the road somewhere, up Cotty Bridge, up that way somewhere. And you know, I nursed him a few years later. Wow, it was a trouble to go near him. He didn't remember me, see, but I remember him. I could have hit him with a bedpan.